Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back in to another edition of Astros Recap. David Artis here to break things down for you one more time. Certainly not my last time, as it's only week 2. Astros have only played 9 games, and not a very good week for them. So 2-3 in their 5 games. Very strange week in terms of their off days. Wednesday and today, Sunday. So weird, not usual sort of game week for the Astros, but they did struggle. So whenever it's not a winning week, it's usually not a good week. So they are still 6-3 because they were 4-0 when I talked to you last Sunday. So they're not in terrible shape. Obviously, they get the Tigers for 3 starting tomorrow, staying here at home. So we'll see how things go there. I think the Tigers are 3-6 after their basically a week and a half of baseball. But the Astros, so they lose their first game on Monday, come back Tuesday, they get a win, off day Wednesday, home opener Thursday was a great day, they got the win there, but they lose on Friday and Saturday to the A's. So yeah, it was tough to lose those two, especially going into I hate losing a game going into an off day, because it just it sort of sits with you. When you lose a game and you play the next day, you try to bounce right back, but Astros weren't able to do that. So quick thoughts before I actually get into the games here. Astros' weakness is the bullpen. So it's really hard to find guys in that bullpen that you can turn to and feel very confident in. We mentioned Brooks Raley. He was not good this week again, so guy I was very skeptical about going into the year, and he's proving to me that he's not a viable option. Dusty Baker's going to have to turn to some of these guys and hope for the best, but yeah, and I thought, Blake Taylor coming in would be a better sort of, at least the lefty I'd have more confidence in, and he also didn't perform very well. So it's hard. Brian Brady has been good, so I'll give him credit. Brian, obviously he's only pitched in 3-4 games. Dusty's used a lot of his relievers. Well, not a lot, but he's been trying to eat up innings with some of the relievers by, usually if you can get a starter to go 7, you can sort of, 7, 8, 9 or 8, 9. He's trying to get innings eaten up by relievers because our starters can't go deep right now. They're all, running their pitch count up. It seems like, they go 5 innings or whatever it is, and then, you got to find a way to get through 4 innings with your relievers. So, we'll see. Obviously, so they go in. We'll just go ahead and get started here. So, excuse me. Tuesday's game was a typical Astros. This had the makings of a bad game for them. Obviously, they got off to an early lead, so things got off to a great start. But we put up 3 in the top half of the first off Jose Quintana, so they were hitting early, and it looked like they were picking up right where they left off in Oakland. They also put up a run in the fourth. They were up 4-2. Then it was 4-3, 5-3, and you start getting into those later innings, unsure about a bullpen or who can get you through here. And late night, this had the makings of one of those games that's the Astros will find a way to let this slip away, and sure enough, that's what they did. Really, when the Astros lose, I'll assess blame, or I'll find the one guy I'll put the blame to. And a guy we usually don't, blame a lot, but Joe Smith came in that 8th inning. He came in the 8th inning, and he gave up, obviously having to face 3 batters, but he gave up 2 hits, and he hit a batter to load the bases. Then they bring in Blake Taylor, and Blake Taylor didn't do a very good job. Obviously, when you're put into a spot where you're coming in with the bases loaded, nobody out, you're hoping maybe 1-2 runs score. He ends up letting all 3 of the inherited runners that Joe Smith left on base score, plus 1 of his own. So Blake Taylor blows the save. Joe Smith gets credited with the loss. And yeah, that was just sort of a continuing. There was a misplay by Yuli Gurriel when he was trying to throw home to cut a runner out or cut a runner down at the plate. It one hopped. Maldonado was unable to handle it. It wasn't a great throw. It was on Yuli, so that obviously didn't help. But Blake Taylor didn't really come in, and at least he didn't do a very good job. I'll just say that. And that's kind of tough to see when you have Brooks Raley, who hasn't been doing a great job. He got an inning in, but gave up 2 hits and a run, walked a batter, struck out a guy. But I'm not high on Brooks Raley. I'm just not. I don't have faith in him. And Blake Taylor so far this year hasn't shown me that he's more reliable at this point. So obviously 9 games. I'm not gonna start penciling in who's been bad, who's been good. But we're still working on the whole first impression thing I talked about last week. So Luis Garcia only gets through 3 1/3, so this goes back to what I just mentioned about starters going deep. Dusty wasn't going to let him, go out there and throw 100 pitches, obviously. So, but hoping to get maybe through 5 with Luis Garcia, but only going 3 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. Walked 3, struck out 1. So he wasn't necessarily very good. Garcia's actually not going to get his scheduled start tomorrow with the off days. They'll start back with Greinke, which I'll get to in a little bit here. But Ryan Stanek, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his first name correct because it's not spelled the usual way you would see a Ryan spelled. If I'm not, he spells it Ryne, so that could be Ryan. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but Stanek, who's actually one of the guys in the bullpen I have more faith in. I'd actually like to see, going forward, Dusty use him in more of a later inning role if they have a 1-run lead or it's a tie game, things like that. But he got 2 outs, struck out a batter to get through the 4th. So he was pitching in the 4th inning, and then Raley came in, gave up the run. Abreu came in, did a good job. 2 innings he worked, 1 hit, and they didn't allow any runs, so his ERA stayed at 0. But Joe Smith really hurt him, and then Blake Taylor didn't do a whole lot better. So you can look at Joe Smith, Blake Taylor's taking the blame, but also the hitting. They left a lot of people on base and had a lot more chances to score runs to really open it up early, and they weren't able to do it. So they go into the 9th inning trailing 7-5. Kyle Tucker does hit a home run in that 9th inning to cut it 7-6, but they unfortunately let that one slip away. Those are the tough games to lose, obviously. Quick scoring summary for the Astros. Talked about they scored 3 in the first. So Bregman had an RBI single. Correa had an RBI single. And on a strikeout pass ball, it also scored a run there. Altuve singled in a run in the 4th. Let's see here. So Yordan Alvarez singled in Martin Maldonado, and then Tucker hit the home run. So those are your 6 runs. I won't go through the Angels. Of course, Mike Trout hit a 2-run home run. But the Astros pitching really failed them. But the offense also takes... It's hard to blame the offense when they score 6 runs, but when you leave like 10 runners on base, it's hard not to at the same time. So sort of the mixed blame to Joe Smith, Blake Taylor / Astros' inability to get some more runs when the opportunity was there for it. So, but they do bounce back Tuesday, so that was a good win. Greinke was back out there. He did well. He gave up a 2-run home run to Mike Trout in the first, but that was all he gave up, and he got through 7 innings. So that was the start that the Astros desperately needed with the bullpen being stretched out the way it was, and then Presley actually pitched 2 innings, got the win. Couldn't get the save, but got the win. The Astros tied it quickly after giving up 2 runs in the top half of the first, as Kyle Tucker and Aledmys Diaz hit back-to-back home runs, and then Correa had the big home run in the 9th inning to win that game. So it was good to bounce back on Tuesday, off day Wednesday. You go into Thursday. This was the home opener. It was a great game all around. Astros went at 6-2. Christian Javier gets the start here. Goes 5 innings, so you would have liked a little bit more, but again, running the pitch count up, you go to Ryan Stanek, who goes an inning and a third, 1 strikeout, no runs, no hits, no walks, so like I said, he's been good. He did give up a run on Saturday. We'll get to that in a minute. Blake Taylor comes in, 2/3 of an inning, didn't allow any runs, so his ERA actually stays at 3. I still think I would trust Blake Taylor a little bit more than Rayleigh at this point in time, but we'll see. Enoli Paredes, who guy going into the year thought maybe he could be, if not the closer, a very decent setup guy, but he just can't throw strikes, and his command issues are just, he's all over the place, gets amped up. He really struggled. He actually got hurt in this game after he walked 2 hitters and got taken out. So I don't have an update on Enoli Paredes. Maybe I'll get one now, but as far as I know, he's not pitching. So I would guess he's on the IL. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but Enoli, in his brief, I guess that was like his 3rd appearance, he's not been good with his command. So but Joe Smith actually came in. Paredes didn't get any outs. Smith sort of bounced back, was able to get 3 outs out of the inning unscathed. Rayleigh pitched the 9th, gave up 2 earned runs. Rayleigh, I'm not gonna. He might turn into my Hector Rondon of the previous years. So Rayleigh right now, not very happy with. But getting the win, can't complain too much there. But going to Friday here, they lose this game. Obviously, McCullers got the start. Let's see here. He goes 5 innings. So your starters are going 5. You got 7 with Greinke. You didn't get very far with Luis Garcia. But when you get 5 with your starter and you need 4 innings from your bullpen every night, that's kind of a tough task to get through. But we were tied at 1 there for, we both scored single runs in the 4th. And then we get all the way to the 8th inning. Brian Abreu comes in, gets 2 1/3. He actually gets the loss in this game, but I'm not going to blame him. I'm going to blame Blake Taylor, who actually gave up the big home run to Matt Olson, the 3-run shot that gave him a 4-1 lead. So Blake Taylor comes in and he's not, he's not very good. Joe Smith comes in, and after Blake Taylor had a scoreless outing the night before, so did Joe Smith. They both come back Saturday and they give up runs. So there's no real consistency. But Blake Taylor gives up 2 earned. Joe Smith gives up 2 earned. And they never really had a chance. I won't say that, but they didn't give up the lead or anything. So it wasn't like they had this game on lockdown. Like the Monday game was more frustrating than this one, obviously. But Matt Olson hit a big 2-run home run to give them, or a big 3-run shot to give them the lead, 4-1. Mark Canha hit a 2-run home run that was off of Joe Smith. The Astros scored on a Kyle Tucker RBI ground out, and late in the game when it was sort of out of reach, Altuve hit a sac fly. 6-2 Oakland wins. Then Saturday's game, they weren't really good there. As Urquidy pitched this game, he wasn't very good. Urquidy he actually got through, I didn't realize this, but he got through 6 innings. 7 hits, 4 runs, they were all earned. Didn't walk a batter, struck out 7, but ERA up to 5.23. Brandon Bielak got an inning, but he gave up 2 earned runs. Stanek gave up his first run of the year, but obviously, I'm not going to blame him. And then Presley, ERA still at 0. Presley's pitched in not that many games because, they haven't really had to use him. They had the one closeout game in L.A., but other than that, he hasn't really had a save opportunity. So, but Presley's going to be their closer. He's not the issue. The issue is bridging that gap from starter to your closer in close games. But the bullpen right now, there's not a lot of guys that you throw out there I feel confident in. I mean, Joe Smith's been up and down. Talked about Rayleigh. Blake Taylor's up and down. I do like Brian Abreu, Ryan Stanek, so those would be the two I'd probably have the most faith in at this point. Brandon Bielak, I mean, he got, really ate up innings in that Sunday game, I believe, the prior week against Oakland, 4 1/3 of no-run baseball, so that was good, but gave up 2 here on Saturday. So, this is going to drive me crazy if the bullpen's going to be like this the entire year, very up and down, losing games late. That's going to be a tough one to. Again, it's 9 games. I'm not going to try to get all bent into shape or anything here, but I need to see some more consistency from some people. And right now, Brian Abreu and Stanek are the only people I can feel sort of confident in, I guess, at this point in time. So that's where we're at. But the bullpen and the inability of our starters to go more than 5 innings is hurting us right now from a pitching standpoint. Offensively, I think they're okay. I know they struggled on Friday and Saturday scoring runs, but I think I'd be more concerned with the pitching right now. So this week, when I look forward to things, a transaction was made as they have brought up Jake Odorizzi. This was a very weird decision. Dusty Baker's got some explaining to do here, but he sent Christian Javier back to the alternate training site or whatever it is. I mean, why him? I mean, what has he done wrong? Absolutely nothing. I mean, you could have gone with Bielak, you could have gone with Garcia. I mean, you could have gone with a few other guys other than Christian Javier, who was sort of a big pitcher for him last year. The Astros will go with a 4-man rotation here with some off days, obviously. But I thought that was weird. So the way the pitching sets up is that they'll have Greinke going tomorrow, Odorizzi going Tuesday, and then they'll have Lance McCullers back on Wednesday, off day Thursday, and then they go to Seattle. So my guess there is your 4th starter will be Urquidy, and then I guess you're going to go back to Greinke on Saturday and Odorizzi on Sunday. So I can't go that far. I do know that the 3 starters I talked about, Detroit, Greinke, Odorizzi, and McCullers, that's sort of set in stone, and we'll see after that. But I thought that was strange to send Javier down, because I don't think it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So that I would have probably sent down Garcia or Bielak before. I mean, Bielak can be helpful in the bullpen, especially if our starters continue to do what they've been doing. Although Bielak didn't have a great last outing, giving up 2 earned runs. But yeah, Astros didn't do a lot of scoring on Friday or Saturday, losing both those games, giving Oakland a little momentum, I guess, or they get back-to-back wins for the first time all year. So the standings, the Astros are tied with the Angels up at the top, both 6-3, and then the Rangers, the Mariners, they're not teams I'm going to have to worry about. The A's I expect to climb back up. But I know I said the Angels, I don't buy them. It's 9 games, so but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, so I'll stick with, I said 88 to 92, somewhere in that range when it comes to wins. The Astros play 6 games. We'll go back to a usual off-day sort of schedule. Those are usually done on Mondays and Thursdays. So as I look at the schedule, that's where I see the off days, which is a much more normal type of schedule. So, yeah, that's just what I'm sort of used to, having the off day on Wednesday and today. Today was a weird day not having baseball. So I do work 4 days at the ballpark next week, so I'll be there quite often. A few pregame tours. I work Friday and Saturday, so Monday, Wednesday. So we'll be at the ballpark for some of the stuff here. But yeah, as I look at the schedule, I mean, I guess I'd say 4-2, which would put them at 10-5. I would take a 10-5 end of the week if the Astros can can do that, I'd be happy with it. So obviously Detroit, not a tough team. Neither is Seattle, so they could very well do better than that. I'd hope for that. But things I'll be looking for this week is obviously starters going deeper, and then a bullpen that shows a little more consistency or can get through games. Not concerned with the offense quite yet. We'll see. But yeah, not a great week to talk about, but only at 20 minutes. I'm trying to think. Talked about the Paredes injury. I don't have an update. Haven't seen anything on Twitter. But I wouldn't expect to see him for a little bit. I think he'll actually be out. So trying to think here. Brantley did get back in the lineup on Friday, so they did hold him out, or got back on Thursday. So they did hold him out like they thought they would, but he's back, and so that's good to see. That was sort of the only injury we had, but at least he didn't end up on the IL, which I feel like sometimes is the case. Diaz has filled in. He's done a great job, I feel like. It's good to have him, and he can play anywhere you need him to. Obviously, he haven't gotten a lot of offense out of the catching position, so whether it's Martin Maldonado or Jason Castro, there's nothing really there. Jordan has slowed down a little bit. He had a tough go of it, I think, his last game. But he actually laid down a bunt single to beat the shift, which was something I enjoyed watching because I think more players should do that. You have these shift rules, or they're doing these shift. I don't think you should. Like what Jordan did gave you a good reason of why they shouldn't ban the shift. I mean, you can talk about pitchers pitching to the shift, because the argument is, people that are in favor or not in favor of the shift, people will say, well, if you're playing in Major League Baseball, you should be able to hit it where they're not. And then, of course, the counterpoint to that is, well, the pitchers are pitching to where you can't hit it to where they're not. And then, that bunt is case in point why the shift should not be banned. I mean, I wish more players would actually do what Jordan did on Saturday for that bunt hit, but we'll wait and see. But that's, yeah. Trying to think, though. I mean, I'm only at 22 minutes. Usually my podcast will go almost 30. So I'm just sort of sitting here thinking if I can say anything more. I didn't watch, so, I was watching a lot of... I missed Tuesday's game. I was out in Waco doing a soccer game, so I missed that. Kept tabs on it, of course. Saw all of Monday's game. Off day Wednesday. I watched all of Thursday's game. Friday's game I watched until Olsen hit the home run. Then I sort of went out to eat, but was keeping tabs. Saturday's game I hardly watched any of, as we had family friends over, so we were sort of hanging out with them. So I didn't watch a whole lot of that, but I sort of know what took place. So I'll get tomorrow's game, obviously, to watch. Tuesday I think I'll be broadcasting, so I will probably miss that one. I'll get Wednesday's game to watch, and then Thursday's an off day, and I think I'll be broadcasting that day as well, be my guess, but I'm not 100% sure on that quite yet. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I should be able to watch all those games. So, like I said, 4-2, but I could see them going 5-1. 5-1 would sort of make me feel even better about 11-4. That'd be a nice record, and yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to think if I forgot things. Obviously, the whole Javier news with him going back down and bring Odorizzi up. I thought Odorizzi would basically take Luis Garcia's spot, but I don't know. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I'll wrap things up there, and I'll talk to you basically in a week, which will be next Sunday. So we'll wrap things up there, and we'll talk to you then.